As part of the previous topic, we have downloaded and installed Spark related libraries on our single node Hadoop and Spark cluster. In this topic, we will be going ahead and configuring Spark 2 on this cluster. We need to ensure that Spark can run using yarn mode. To make sure that Spark can run using yarn mode, we need to tell where the Hadoop related binaries are with respect to this installation. Even though the Spark which we have set up includes Hadoop also, as we want to use the existing Hadoop, we have to point Hadoop home and Hadoop conf directory to the existing Hadoop related folders. This is related to Hadoop home directory. This is related to Hadoop configuration directory. Also, we need to make sure that the class path is defined like this so that all the libraries that are part of the Hadoop configuration directory are included as part of the Spark as well. Also, we need to set this ld underscore library underscore path for some of the reasons which you don't have to worry too much about at this time. Just use these 4 lines and update the script called as spark-env.sh, which is part of OPT Spark 2 conf. Let me go back to the terminal here. In this, I can say vi opt spark 2 conf spark-env.sh. You can hit enter. It is a new file that is being created. Now you can paste these 4 lines in this. You can save and come out of this. Now you have to open another file called as opt spark2 conf spark-defaults.sh. Actually, it is spark-defaults.conf. You can open this file and then you have to paste these lines. I will explain the meaning of some of the important properties which are being set here. Even though we have set Hadoop related paths with respect to spark-env.sh, by default Spark will start running using local mode. To make sure that Spark runs using yarn by default, we have to set this property spark.master to yarn under defaults.conf. There are few additional properties which are important so that we can access the logs after Spark jobs are done. For that, we have to set Spark history UI ports and so forth. We also need to start the history server. We are not going to start at this time. We will take care of starting the history server at a later point in time and validate. For now, just use these properties to update spark-defaults.conf and then we will be able to validate Spark without any issues. Now, after setting these properties as part of spark-defaults.conf, we have to take care of few more tasks. First, we need to create this folder called as spark2-jars and then this folder called as spark2-logs. And also we have to copy all the Spark jars into this HDFS location. The reason why we have to do this is, if you look at these properties, we are saying the event log should go as per this property, which is nothing but this one. When we actually set up Hadoop, we will not be having any folder with this name and hence we have to create this folder. Also, we need to create this folder and copy the jar files into it so that yarn can understand the Spark. Without that, yarn will not be able to understand the Spark. So let's take care of creating these 2 folders and then copying the Spark jars into the HDFS location spark2-jars. As of now, I think HDFS is down. Let me confirm that by running JPS. Yes, it is down. We have a script called as start_all.sh. I can say source start_all.sh and I should be able to start the daemons related to HDFS as well as yarn. Once they are started, we should be able to create the directories and also we can copy the jar files from opt spark2 jars to HDFS spark2-jars. Let's wait until all the components are started, then we'll take care of running these commands again. Now everything is up and running. We should be able to create spark2-jars. Once it is created, okay, name node is still in safe mode. We have to wait until it comes back. So if you run into this issue of name node being in safe mode for very long, you should be able to disable the safe mode. I will demonstrate in a moment. Let's wait for a few more minutes and see if the name node comes out of safe mode by itself. If not, we will take care of turning off the safe mode. It came out of the safe mode by itself. Now I have ran the hdfs dfs-mkdir command and the folder is created. We should be able to validate by saying hdfs dfs-ls spark2-jars and hit enter. As of now, we just created the folder. We haven't copied anything. That's why it is not returning anything. Now let's create another folder called as spark2-logs. This will take care of creating spark2-logs for us. It will not contain anything at this time. Only once we start running Spark jobs, there might be some logs that might be getting into this location. Now we have to copy this Spark jars from this location into this folder. So when we say opt spark to jars star, it will copy all the files in this folder into this location. I'll be using hdfs dfs command. Let me update this. I can say hdfs dfs -put. I'm just using hdfs dfs to be consistent with the other commands. hdfs dfs or hadoop fs are nothing but aliases to each other, so you can use either of them. In my case, I'm using hdfs dfs -put opt spark to jars star then /spark to -jars. This is the location in hdfs. This is the location in local file system where we have set up the spark2. Once it is done, then we need to make sure that Spark is integrated with Hive Metastore. If we integrate Hive Metastore with Spark, whatever databases and tables that are created as part of Hive can be accessed using Spark SQL or even PySpark or even using Spark with Scala. To ensure we can access Hive Metastore databases and tables, so we need to make sure that Spark is integrated with Hive Metastore. For that, we have to take care of a couple of additional steps. We'll take care of that once we confirm that jars are copied into this location. You can validate by saying hdfs dfs -ls spark2 -jars and hit enter. You can see all the jars related to Spark being copied here. Now let's go ahead and integrate Hive Metastore with Spark. For that, we have to create soft link for hivesite.xml in Spark conf folder. The original location for hivesite.xml is nothing but opt hive conf hivesite.xml. This is the file which is supposed to be there as part of the Spark configurations also. Instead of copying the file, it is better to create a soft link so that even if we update this file in future, the updates will be reflected under Spark also. We don't need to copy every time we make changes to Hivesite. That being said, the way you can create soft link is like this. You can say sudo ln-s the source location, which is nothing but this one, then the target location, which is nothing but opt spark2 conf. Now you can say ls-ltr opt spark2 conf. You should be able to see the soft link to opt hive conf hivesite.xml with name hivesite.xml. Now for Spark to talk to Hive Metastore, it has to talk through Postgres driver because the Hive Metastore is set up using Postgres. If you look at opt hive then lib then grep for Postgres, you can see that there is a JDBC driver which is in this location. You can try copying this, but this is a bit outdated version. You might not be able to talk to Postgres using this driver from Spark. Spark might not be compatible with this. Now to mitigate this, you can actually download the latest version of Postgres JDBC driver. For that, you can go to the browser. You can search for Postgres JDBC driver. You can go to this download. You can pick the latest version. Here we are talking about JDK 1.8 and hence we can choose this. If you choose this, it will use JDK 1.7. If you choose this, it will use JDK 1.6. Let's right click on this. Then you can say copy link. Then you can say sudo wget paste that path or paste that link. Then -O. Then the location to which we have to copy is nothing but opt spark2 jars. We have to specify the file name also. Let me specify the file name here and then hit enter. It will take care of downloading the Postgres related JDBC jar file into this location. The location is nothing but opt spark2 jars. This is not copied yet into spark2 -jars, which is set up in HDFS. In case if our jobs fail in future, we might have to copy this as well. For now, you can leave it like this and you should be able to run Spark without any issues. As we have successfully downloaded and installed Spark related binaries and also configured, we need to take care of validation. Let's go to the next topic where the validation will be done in detail.